What's up, witches? It's Sunday when I'm sitting down to film this, so I figured since I've been wanting to sit down and kind of film a get ready with Freya video and just do kind of like more informal chit chat thing, that this would be the perfect opportunity to do that and just sit down and play with some makeup. Because one of the topics that I just kind of wanted to talk about rather informally is the concept of magical thinking in general, or as I'm calling it in this video, unlearning your mundane programming. Because I feel like when you first get into like witchcraft or paganism, nature worship, animism, all of the above, basically, anything that kind of fits outside of organized religion, and especially if you want to start doing things like working with different gods and goddesses, spell work, magic, witchcraft, all of that kind of stuff, I feel like just harnessing the power of what I like to call magical thinking is really important, like vitally important to all of those types of practices. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about what that process has been like for me and just kind of my experiences with that. So I'll try to kind of hit my few little bullet points that I have written down while also staying on track and doing makeup at the same time. So this will be fun. Let's see. Let's see if I can handle all of that multitasking in one video. So before I get started with that, I thought what I would do, since I already did my whole skincare routine insofar as I try to do that. So I just thought I would show you guys really quick what I've been using for that, because my standard go-to for a cleanser and a toner is the Dr. Thayer's Witch Hazel facial toner, and I have the one with rose petal in it. It has this kind of nice light floral scent, but the thing that I like about this one is that it has no alcohol. And the nice thing about witch hazel is it's meant to be a bit of an astringent, which helps just reduce redness and inflammation, but alcohol can also be kind of irritating and drying to your skin, which is definitely what I don't want, especially we're still kind of coming out of winter right now, and my skin is not recovered from that yet, so I don't need any more help in the dryness department, thank you. So definitely recommend this. It's kind of my holy grail go-to for just a light cleanser. And then I actually got these off Amazon with a gift card, thanks Auntie Karen, but it's the Etude House Moistful Facial Toner with collagen, and I liked the packaging. I thought it was cute and pretty to have on display, but I also just liked the idea of a moisturizing collagen facial toner, and then it also comes with this emulsion, which don't ask me what an emulsion is technically supposed to be, but it's just kind of a nice light moisturizer that I will put on after I do the toner. So that's what I'm using right now to stay all nice and moisturized. So I'm kind of going to be going for a very fiery Freya gold Leo themed makeup look with this, because I'm a Leo and it's a Freya Friday video, so let's see what I can do here. But anyway, so what I was talking about with the importance of magical thinking in general, because I know one of the biggest things for me getting into this has just been doing a lot of inner child work, and not only that, but I think when you kind of get onto this path, and especially if you want to do witchcraft and magic and spell work, even for me, I'm someone who's always considered myself kind of weird out there. I like fantasy. I've always wanted to kind of believe in magic and go to Hogwarts and sign me up for all of that stuff. And I do believe in fairies, etc. And yet, even for me, when I've been embarking on this whole witchcraft journey, it's still been kind of hard for me to fully let go of that thing that's kind of indoctrinated and ingrained into us from the time that we're really young of, when you start to get older of, magic isn't real and you gotta, grow up and stop believing in unicorns and Santa Claus and all of that kind of stuff and just be a serious adult. But that's kind of the thing, is that a lot of this stuff only works if you believe in it and believe it does. So even for me, like someone who's always kind of been into that kind of thing, witchcraft, magic, shiny rocks, all of it, Wicca, it's still been hard for me to kind of get rid of that voice in the back of my head saying like, this is stupid, people are gonna think you're crazy, what are you doing with your shiny rocks and your deity altars, none of this is real. But that also is just kind of also gonna hold you back and hinder you from really fully exploring these paths, and not only these paths, but what you're capable of on them. And so for me, the first thing I wanted to kind of bring up to talk about and touch on is the importance of having to stop being embarrassed to just talk about those types of subjects and not feel stupid or like you're gonna be judged, whether that be just talking about like the more supernatural and magical aspects of both your beliefs and your spiritual practice and just like your personal life. It's hard to stop just being self-conscious or embarrassed to talk about those kind of things, because I know for me, either, depending on the audience, you either feel like people are gonna look at you like you're crazy and you've totally lost your mind, like, oh, I'm over here talking about Norse gods and going out in the woods to worship them with a bunch of pagans that I've never met before, and yeah, believing that I'm a witch now and all of that. Oh, I'm sure like I'm gonna get some looks from some sidebar conversations from people saying that I've finally like gone off the deep end officially and totally lost my mind. But then on the other hand, when I think you first do branch out into those spiritual communities, it could also be very hard for me to not feel like you're bragging or like clout chasing when you also talk about certain things. Like for me, my big one is like past lives, because I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe in past lives, and I believe that I've had a couple dreams personally that gave me insight into a couple of my past lives. I'm not saying like as Cleopatra or anything, but just that I've had them, and that for me especially, I think I have had dreams of past lives that were very, very old. Like we're talking prehistoric societies old. But I feel like, especially like even when you're in those more pagan or like supernatural circles, you could still, run into like Norse pagans who don't believe in reincarnation or that kind of afterlife, or still might kind of look at you crazy if you say that you're very old. So for me, I feel like it's like a weird form of bragging or trying to seek like validation, or it can come off that way of just being like, oh yes, I'm a very old soul and that type of thing. And that kind of leads me into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is that I deal with and struggle with a lot just in every aspect of my life, but especially since getting into the whole like witchcraft and paganism thing and deciding to put myself out there on YouTube about it, because you will find those people that their personal beliefs still might not align 100% with yours, and so you still might get some weird looks even within specific communities. See there, I'm gonna go in with this super old Wet n Wild foundation cushion, but it's a little bit darker than my super pale like skin tone right now, so we're gonna go for it, because I'm trying to be like warm, give some warmth in this look. I don't want to be entirely like pale washed out winter face over here, so. But yeah, that's definitely one of the big things that I know I have struggled with a lot, especially just in seeing like how many other people there are out there right now who are not only like into paganism and witchcraft, but also content creators and been doing it way longer than I have, or just been actually practicing paganism and witchcraft for longer than I have, because I've studied a lot of these things for well over a decade now, but I've been into them since I was really young. But yeah, in terms of actually, practicing paganism and witchcraft, it's only been about a year and a half now. So one of the big things that I really deal with and struggle with is that whole imposter syndrome thing, and I think that also just goes along with the importance of magical thinking and not only just believing in magic, but also believing in yourself, because that's definitely one thing that I learned pretty early on in exploring this, and that Freya especially helped teach me, was that only you can step into your power and claim that identity for yourself of like, I'm a pagan, I'm a witch, I'm whatever. Like, you can go seek external validation and confirmation from others all day, every day, or like try to find some authority figure in witchcraft who can give you some special right and say like, oh, you're an ordained witch now, and try to make it all official. But at the end of the day, you don't need that validation and recognition from anybody else to do any of this stuff. And ultimately, if you're going to accomplish anything, whether it be big goals or small, personal or magical, mundane or magical, only you can claim that power for yourself and fully step into that power and that identity as like a witch or pagan or follower of whatever deity. No one else can hand that to you and say like, oh yes, it's official, like you are this now, here's your membership card. And I think that was definitely really important for me to just, and still is important for me to remind myself of. We got the bass on. For a very like gold, glowy, radiant look, so I want to be kind of shiny. So the next thing I kind of wanted to touch on, after just kind of stepping into your power, claiming your witchiness or whatever, authentic identity, best version of yourself is, whatever that looks like. I think, and this, especially for me, getting into the like more paganism aspect of it, as far as like animism and nature worship, and just kind of being able to sense and recognize and appreciate that, like Pocahontas said, every rock, tree, and creature has a life and a spirit. And it's important to recognize that, and I think along with that, for me, with the whole like magical thinking and paganism, an important aspect of that is just being able to learn to see the magical in the mundane. And for me, especially like working with Freya and Freyr and the Vanir, I think they're definitely like more of the stewards of Midgard itself. I think, with Freyr being king of Alfheim, they're closely related to those Alfar, those light elves, those little spirits of nature and the woods, like the land Vatir. I think they work closely together with all of them, and so a big part of not only paganism, but for me, like my specific brand of paganism and magic is just being able to practice mindfulness and through that see the magical in the everyday, in this world that is around us, that was given to us to appreciate and enjoy, but along with that also honor and be respectful of and give back to. It's very important for us to be able to appreciate, you know, the beauty of Midgard and all that it has to offer. So now I'm gonna go in with this like super gold foily color. So for me, appreciating the beauty of nature and just learning to stop and, you know, literally just take a moment to stop and smell the roses is really important. And I think not only just kind of helps your whole mindset, just kind of take a little meditative moment to stop and take in your surroundings, breathe, and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's not only just really good for your mindset and just de-stressing, but you'll be surprised what you notice when you're just kind of taking a moment out of your busy day to stop and be observant of the world around you. I feel like when people first get into this type of practice, it feels like, you know, you start seeing signs all over the place. And it's like, sure, maybe it's just that whole honeymoon phase of it all, but I think part of it also just has to do with, yeah, when you're actually taking a moment to be in the moment, you just start noticing more stuff. And I think it's really important. Even in the midst of this crazy, messed up dumpster fire of a modern society we live in, to still be able, in the midst of all of that, to appreciate the beauty of nature itself. Because whatever else is going on in our lives, it's always going to be there for us. At least as long as we take care of it, that is. It's always there. Just kind of waiting for us to appreciate it. Holy fallout, Batman. And for me, I think it's just very important to never lose that sense of childlike wonder in the world. And just seeing the magic in the everyday and still being able to be delighted by it. You know, letting that inner child out to be able to engage with the world in that way. Of, you know, no inhibitions, nothing's holding you back from expressing that unabashed joy and happiness and just delight in seeing something cool. Like, you will find me, if you ever go on a nature hike with me, I'm probably gonna be killed one day because I'll just scamper off into the underbrush and be like, oh, what's that? What's that fuzzy plant over there? I'm gonna go touch it. And I'm gonna touch the wrong thing. But I can't help it. I want to make a point of never losing that sense of childlike wonder and joy in the everyday world around me, and something as simple as just seeing like a caterpillar or something like that, you know? I feel like the Vanar especially, they put that kind of beauty into the world, and you know, Freya being a goddess of beauty and fertility especially, she put those beautiful things into nature and into the world for us to appreciate and enjoy, because this world can be very hard and full of very harsh things and full of suffering. But at the same time, they gave us these beautiful gifts of Midgard that we can still stop to appreciate and enjoy, even in the midst of everything, and in the midst of sorrow and strife. You can still just kind of step outside and bask in the sun and appreciate its warmth, you know? Especially if you're working in an animism type path, reverence for nature, working with nature and the spirits of nature, even more so. While we do that, I can do my eyebrows. Go in with this little NYX Fluff and Fill with the little crayon pencil thing on one end. Like inner child thing, and yeah, letting that inner child out to play and enjoy the world and take it all in kind of leads into my next point that I kind of touched on in the beginning, as far as, you know, yeah, kind of unlearning your mundane programming and just being willing to let your imagination back out. Part of the foundation of magical thinking is just being able to use your imagination. And what I said about magic and witchcraft and spells only working if you truly deep down believe that it will. If you're just going through the motions and like crafting a spell, following some tutorial you found or like spell recipe you found, but you're not actually putting your own willpower and belief behind it, don't be surprised if you don't get any results. You can have all the right ingredients and all the right tools, but if at the end of the day you still deep down don't really believe in what you're doing and that it's going to be effective, then it's not. And even for me, that's just been kind of hard for me to overcome that hurdle, even as someone that really does and always has kind of wanted to believe in magic and believe in those things, because we're just told from such an early age that it's not real, it's not something we should believe in. You know, we gotta stop daydreaming and get your head out of the clouds. Okay, the hardest part, eyeliner. Some big cat eye wing-a-langs on here. I just bought this like NYX Epic ink liner and I really like it so far. It drew on pretty nice and smooth. I'm going with some mascara. I was gonna do some little falsies, but I couldn't find my lash glue, so fuck it. definitely think that a key component of magical thinking is just being able to let that inner child out and relearn to let your sense of imagination run wild. And that's a big component that I tap into as part of just my everyday practice. And at first I think it can be difficult when you're sitting down and getting into the whole thing and you want to start like meditating. Especially for me, like my problem is that I've always had kind of a very active imagination. And so I often will wonder when I'm kind of sitting down to do these things and having these meditations, doing these workings, having kind of like conversations with deity, there's still that part of myself that's very conflicted on, oh, like, am I actually receiving like a vision from Freya, a vision from the gods, or is it just my overactive imagination? You know, is it all in my head? And I think as someone who's just kind of new to the concept of religious practice in general, that might be where the whole faith concept comes in. But also just, learning to trust your instincts, to fine-tune those skills and those instincts so that the more practice you have, the better you get at honing that sense of when it's just kind of you imagining things and when it might be coming from like an external source or your higher self, whatever the case ends up being. It only works if you believe it does, and if you reinforce that belief with your every thought, word, and action. So for the cheeks, I think first I'm gonna go in with this like rosy Milani blush, because like I said, I want something kind of warm, fiery, going for like lots of reds and gold. Get my denser little blush brush here. I'm normally pretty light-handed with my blush because I'm so pale. Kind of segues into the next concept I wanted to talk about as part of the whole, using your imagination and communing with deity, receiving visions, doing spell work especially. Visualization and intent can be a very key component of that. You have to really visualize like what goals you have and what outcome you want. And in some cases, like be very specific what you're trying to manifest and like be careful what you wish for type thing. I think I said in my last makeup video, that's definitely one thing I found is for camera, it's okay to be a little bit more heavy-handed than you normally would, because especially when you're as ghostly pale as me and your skin literally reflects the light, you can get washed out very easily. And then I might do a little bit of light contouring just to be fancy. I have this little contour palette that I think I just got off of like Yes Style, because for me with fair skin, it's a very light, cool toned palette, which is kind of what I need. And I like to kind of contour my jawline here really lightly because I don't have a very strong jawline, especially right here. I feel like my little like jowl area just kind of blends right into my neckline and makes me look like I don't have a chin. So I'll kind of contour that a little bit to make it look a little bit stronger than it is sometimes. So as I was saying, for me, I've always had like a very powerful imagination, and I think that's something that's very important to have. Because like I said, you have to be able to kind of visualize what you want, what your intent is, and be able to picture the outcome, picture picture it as if it's already happened that way in your mind. You know, I often try to not have expectations for things in life, lest I be disappointed when things don't live up to those expectations or things don't go according to plan. But I think it can also be very important if it's something that, like, I really, really want, like it's an event that I really, really want to go to. I've already, you know, made the plans, booked the trips and everything. I'm just going to keep living my life as if, like, it is a given. It has already happened, gonna happen, already done, been happening. It's a sure thing, because I feel like if you really keep feeding that energy and feeding that intent out into the universe, you know, not to get too, like, law of attraction bullshit, but yeah, I think in some cases just having that mindset really can help carry you through it. Just a teeny bit of this little Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in whatever the lightest shade is. So what are you guys doing this weekend? I know for me, season 2 of Bridgerton just came out. So I've been binge watching that all weekend. Maybe that's why I wanted to kind of get all prettified and play with makeup. Could be, but I just thought this would be a fun format to do this video too. So now I think what I'm gonna do is try to go in with as much highlight as I can. And I'm gonna be kind of ridiculous with it, because like I said, I want to be like frosted and nice and shiny up in here. That golden goddess glow. Ooh, yeah, I know. Next I'm gonna go in with this little tiny, like, elf whipped shimmer blush thing. Ooh, yeah, now my highlight be popping. Look at that. I'm gonna get even crazier. It's outlandish and I love it. So I think the only other thing I need to do is put on some lipstick. And while I do that, one thing that I did kind of want to touch on, because I was honestly surprised I didn't really even realize that this was a thing, because as I said, I have a really overactive imagination. Some people have what's called like aphantasia, where they can't really visualize or picture things in their head. That's something that you also struggle with and you're having trouble like meditating or performing spells or manifestations. That's when you can really like go to those physical representations and like physical objects to help you make those connections in your mind. Bright orange, orange red. I'm gonna put that over it. Okay, I'm gonna go get changed and then we'll do the final reveal and kind of sum everything up. Well, here I am in all of my beautiful golden Freya glory. Seeing myself with light colored hair is weird, but I'm kind of digging it. I'm also kind of digging how this makeup look came out. Got a beautiful gold smoky eye, nice rosy highlighted cheeks, and a bright orange red lip. I'm feeling the hair, channeling my Freya energy. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this just kind of little sit down chit chat, get ready with me, talking all about the importance of just letting your imagination run wild and really believing in the power of magic, because it's only as real as you think it is. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and until next time, stay classy, pagans.